So I went ahead and started doing some of this. But first thing you do is you turn the power off to the camper outside at your main breaker and unplug and disconnect the wires on the battery. I've tested, make sure there's no power in here, and the only thing that I do have is I just have some lights run through an extension cord outside, but just so you can see. And it's summertime and it's getting hot, so I'm trying to do this as fast as I can. And but anyways, just disconnected the power outside. Went ahead and pulled all the breakers out of the box, disconnected all the wires from each of the breakers. They were all 15 amps, so it's not really going to matter. I'm going to reuse these in my 50 amp box anyways. So it's not going to matter which one goes to which. Once I'll get hooked back up, I'll just throw the breaker to each one to find out which one goes to which. That's pretty much it. So now I'm just going to disconnect these. These I am going to pay attention to one at a time because each one of these has a different size fuse to it. So I'll disconnect those individually, hook those up into the new 50 amp box here, and then I will one at a time start wiring these back here. That's actually pretty simple once I got into it and realized like it's not that much to it. I think it should go pretty fast, but anyways. Alright, so I've done the first one right here. So all I'm doing is, I'm going to go ahead and remove this before I go any further, but just to make sure that I'm doing this right. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18 of these. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18. Yeah, alright. So this first slot right here that I've already put this first wire in, I'm going to go ahead and put this fuse in because that's what was over here, right? So then I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this next one. Pull this yellow wire out here, run this to the back of the box here. Pretty simple. This one, there's a hole right there. The wire gets pushed up in here. That's hard to do this with two hands. Pushed in there, pull it down. Oh, didn't work. So you gotta make sure that it actually stays, right? So push the wire in there pretty good. Push it down, give it a little tug. Yep, alright. And then I'll go pull this fuse out. Alright, and that goes there. And I will do all of these the same way, just one at a time, making sure that I know which goes to which, each fuse goes to what. And then when it's done, I can look right here. And then since I'm going from the top to the bottom, this is the old one, I can relabel all these to the new one. And that's pretty much it. Alright, so I've got all my 12 volt wires hooked up and in place like they're supposed to be, and it says like the max or whatever, and here and then down in the bottom. All right, so that's the 50 amp main coming in, and I've got to switch out my cable from a 30 amp to 50 amp, and I'm actually upgrading the outdoor cable to a new style twist lock plug or whatever. So I'll do that in just a minute, and I'll show you how to do that. But all I'm doing here is, so with the difference in a 30 and 50 amps is 50 amp, you're going to have everything on two sides, right? So there's one side and there's the other side. So you pretty much break that up into two bus bars. But you have one main circuit coming through, whereas with the other style, let's see, it's not it. Alright, with the other style, you got a 30 amp coming in, and then the 20 amp, actually, lied a little while ago, said all of them were 15 amp. They're not. The 20 amp is actually the AC unit. And that is determined, if you look, that wire, that yellow wire, that is a 12 gauge wire. which shows that it is good for up to 20 amps. All the rest of the white wires are 14 gauge, and they're good for only 15 amp wires. So I know that the yellow one goes to my air conditioning unit, so I'll make sure that I wire that up correctly to a 20 amp circuit. And then I'll do the thing. I'm actually going to be adding a second AC unit in here, so that's the reason why I'm actually upping my surface from a 30 to a 50, so I can handle 2 AC units in this camper. It is not sufficient enough for what we have, so upgrading that as well. So now I'm just going to be hooking up these breakers. I'm reusing the breakers from the other one. They do work in this 50 amp panel. Reusing those, and then I will come back in just a few minutes and show you how to hook up the outdoor cable. Alright, so this is what we're going to do here. We're going to take and remove this piece. This is the power to the outside. This is really hard to do with just one hand free. Alright, let's see if this should just come right off. Alright. Alright. Now, since this has been disconnected on the inside, all that hose is in there. I mean, all the wires in there. We're going to have to peel all that out. There you go. That's the other side of it. That goes to the panel on the inside. Alright, so what we're going to do is then you got... This is like a 50 amp wire for a stove or something along those lines. And I have hopefully enough, maybe like, I don't know, 3-ish feet, 4 feet, something like that. Hopefully it's enough to run this all the way through. But we're going to clean this up, and we're going to put sealant back on top of this before we put the new piece in there. But let me make sure that this is... I'm gonna cover that whole hole up. Ah, dang. Alright. I'll have to figure out something there. Well, I'll have to figure out something there, but I'm gonna show you how to hook this up first. So there are 4 there on the back. There's black, green, white, and red. So the black and red are going to be hots. When you have a 50 amp service in here, a 50 amp box in here, you're going to have 2 hots, a neutral, and a ground. And so well, neutral and ground, whatever it is. So anyways, you just hook those up. So black to black, green to copper, white to white, and then red to red. And I'll do that, and then we'll be back. Alright, it took me long enough, but I've got something fixed up somewhat outside. But this wire was long enough, so I still got black, red, white, and a copper. And I'm going to go ahead and run a black and a red to each one of these poles. One, let's see, where's it? One to the left one, and one to the right. Right there, right there. Right there, and right there. And then a white here. And then the copper there, and we should have power. Alright, moment of truth. 50 amp is hooked up, power's off. See if it works. Oh, we got lights. Yep, microwave. That one's blank right now. I'm going to add, that's going to be the other AC unit. There you go. And these are actually incorrect. I'm going to, before somebody says something, these are 30 amps. I'm going tomorrow to Lowe's, switch these out for 220 amps and run my AC unit. So, yeah, it's working. Sweet.